Welcome everyone to the July meeting of Carnegie Borough Council. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment of silence, please. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask our Borough Manager, Steve Buter, to take roll call, please.
Thank you, President. Councilperson Demko?
Here.
Councilperson Varys?
Here.
Councilperson Covey?
Present.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Here.
Councilperson Katina?
Here.
Council President DeLoss?
Here.
Mayor Kabistik? Here. All are present.
Thank you. You have a copy of the agenda which was placed at the entranceway into the room. There are a number of listed motions on here. If anyone has comments that they would like to make about the listed motions, this is your opportunity to do so. There being none, we'll get started with Administration and Finance motions. Councilman Katina, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the minutes from the council meeting on June 10, 2013.
Second. Any comments or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Covey?
Yes.
Councilperson Varys?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Katina?
Yes.
Council President DeLoss?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve the minutes from the council meeting on June 24, 2013.
Second.
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Covey?
Yes.
Councilperson Varys?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Katina?
Yes.
Council President DeLoss?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve the July bill list as bill list addendum.
Second.
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Varys?
No, with the exception for the mortgages for the fire department for the building and the land.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Covey?
Yes.
Councilperson Katina?
Yes.
Council President DeLoss?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion D has been removed, so we're on to motion E. And it's
We should point out that Steve Buter is acting as the borough manager in an interim capacity, but we have not gotten everything together that we need as far as his contract in order to be able to pass motion D. Should not read into the deletion of that as something negative regarding Mr. Buter, certainly not.
Thank you. Motion to award Chief Jeffrey Hartman with a $5,000 settlement pay.
Second.
Comments?
Mr. President, the word settlement pay was chosen to be used as a result of this. As you know, Chief Hartman retired, and at the time he retired, he had in excess of 100 sick days that he had never used because the man was never sick. He had an opinion that that was worth a certain amount of money. Council had another opinion. It was worth a significantly lesser amount. And this settlement pay is a resolution of that issue.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'll just say that Chief Hartman didn't have a contract, so there were issues with that this would revert back to the regular contract. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
And the interpretation of, in the borough handbook of whether or not he can use FMLA and get paid for it. Use his sick days while he's on FMLA.
So I think the mayor's point was that we are going to ensure that our new police chief has a contract and is very clear, the wording, that upon his retirement or upon his leaving for any other reason, that it would be very clear under what circumstances that would be. Chief Harbin was our chief for 21 years and he did not have an agreement, so there were some things that were not exactly clear.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mr. President.
If there's no other comments, then a roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes.
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Barris,
No.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
Council President DeLusk.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We'll move on to code enforcement motions. Councilwoman Cody.
Thank you, President Delos. Motion A, motion to approve a curb cut located at 429 Center Avenue.
Second.
Comments?
Mine says Center. Oh, second. I thought you were saying Second Avenue. I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. President. It was just brought to my attention as recently as this past Sunday. I guess a couple of the neighbors had some concerns with the curb cut, not so much the curb cut, but the building of the garage in there. There's some concern that this particular person may want to put in a bed and breakfast on that particular street, but I assured them that it wasn't zoned for that. And they said, that's fine, as long as that doesn't happen, because they were concerned, obviously, if that happened, the increased traffic flow and the parking issues and stuff like that. So I just wanted,
It's an apartment, is what you're saying? It's an apartment?
no, it's a larger house.
What's the intent of the owner for this property?
For the curb cut. at
Where the curb cut is, what's,
He applied for a variance to build a garage and did not meet the setback requirement. It's a two-story garage, and he was initially denied because it was a detached garage. Now it is his intent to attach that garage to his house. So in essence, it becomes one big structure which does not have a 15-foot height restriction. He's declared that the second floor of the garage will be for his model trains now. And I've received no objections. There have been public hearing. Nobody attended.
so he doesn't require variance for that?
Well, right now, it's a garage with a hobby room above it, but it's attached to the house.
And Mr. Roma, this is R1, right? Or is this R2? I think it's R1.
I'm not 100% sure it's one or the other. There's a fine line right there.
Right there, right there.
In that neighborhood.
Okay.
But you would have to apply for an occupancy permit.
Okay.
Do you find any reason we should not grant him this curb cut?
No, I've not heard any objections from any of the neighbors on what he proposes.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to accept the bid of Schaeff Excavating Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $49,170 for the demolition of the property located at 12 3rd Street, 102-C-335.
Second.
Discussion or comments?
Discussion. I will be voting yes, but with reservation and discussion. I think the residents, there's not many people here, but I think the residents of the borough need to know that now we have over $75,000 in a very small piece of property on the creek. And I think they deserve to know what makes this property so valuable and what's going to be done with it.
And not only that, we don't own the other two pieces of property. It should be with us.
But when we went to buy it, someone questioned it. And someone on council said it was a very valuable piece of property.
That was the
I want to
attorney.
know what's so valuable about it and what's going to be done with that. And we don't own the other pieces. Councilman Varys is correct. So I just think everybody needs to know we put a lot of money into a piece of property that's, on the creek that'll be flooded, and
Well, I
what's going to
think,
become of it.
I think as far as Mr. Barris's question, I think that's currently being worked on through our solicitor, and I think we're just shy of closing that deal and have that combined property. I think if nothing else is done with this piece of property, that we can pave that lot, put some greenery there, and make some permanent parking. There are people that continue to use the busway, continue to look for permanent parking, and at the rate we're charging for permanent parking, and the amount of spaces we can get out of there, it'll at least generate revenue there. So the property just simply won't be torn down and the property sit idle. It'll make some money.
They're going to permit park there to go where? It's not.
To the busway, Carol,
To the
like,
busway?
like about 75 other people.
Okay, you don't think that's far?
No, because I work in downtown Pittsburgh where people go 6 blocks
Okay.
to where they work.
We actually have a number of people that walk from way up on Covey State Park and come down to the busway. But we understand the expense. It is expensive, but there is asbestos in the building, and asbestos abatement costs money. But I think we'd also have to recognize that that property would sit there then indefinitely. It would sit there indefinitely.
And not only that, it was an eyesore, and they're doing the third streetscape there, so we had to do something.
Right, multi-million-dollar project coming through there, and we're gonna let that be the first thing somebody sees when they come into our time. I
My
think we're
son
better
was
than
voting
that.
yes,
Okay,
with
well, I was just
reservations
clarifying.
and discussion.
Any other comments regarding
Well,
demolition?
I'm just going to weigh in a little bit. I believe the eyesore needs to be taken down. I wish we would have utilized other mechanisms to do that, force the owner to take it down, and when the owners when we had it on the demolition list, when the owners didn't want to do it, then we would have the option to legally do that, and then make the owners pay for for the issue. Plus, the property was taxed. They were in arrears with their taxes. We could have confiscated it that way too. So I believe there were other options. I also believe it will be additional costs to pave the lot, which sometimes can be pretty expensive. I'm not sure if our public works can do that. So that'll add more money into the project. So
Well, I disagree with the other options because it would have taken years to take that property. And the streetscape would have been done, and then we'd have that big eyesore sitting there.
the streetscape has been going on for years.
I understand that, they're working on it now. And that would have taken years to take that property over.
Well, it could have been started a lot earlier.
Attorney Lucas,
Well, at the time the property was purchased, we had a consent order with the then owner to tear it down. The cost of tearing it down would have been the same as this right now. The only difference was that we would have placed a lien on the then vacant property that would have been, if and when the property was ever sold, we would have been able to get what we could out of it, because it probably wouldn't have been sold for this amount of money. Because then you would have had a vacant piece of property. Ultimately, though, the amount of money that was paid for that was not based on the recommendation of a councilman or me. The amount of money that was paid for was through a bargain for exchange. I think there seems to be some kind of belief that council authorized me to spend so much money on it, and I went in and that was what I offered. We started significantly lower than that, and we went through about 4 rounds of negotiations where we were told there was another potential buyer, and if we wanted to buy the property, this was the price. I got approval from council, and that's what we agreed to.
Yeah, I don't think that was the issue, but I do appreciate your weighing in, because I think what you said was absolutely accurate up to the point on another option that we could have taken, and I believe that to be basically common practice for most municipalities on how they deal with properties like this. So that's what I have seen in my
And that is,
endeavors.
Mayor, that has been the common practice with 99% of the demolitions that we've done in this borough. This particular property, however, it was the purchaser had purchased it at a sheriff's sale, and he had it up for sale. And the borough was, because of the streetscape project, as I recollect, very interested in getting it and utilizing the property once this is brought down. It was a council decision to do this. There were other issues that I was going to in public. I don't think I'm at liberty to pursue in a public meeting, but.
Yes. And all of this council's aware of the other issue that hung over this, us doing this, I think, so.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments? A roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Barris,
No.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
Council President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We'll continue with Public Works motions. Councilman Demko, please.
Motion to permit the Carlington Soccer Association to use both upper and lower fields, concession stand and restrooms at Carnegie Park on Saturdays from noon to 4 p.m. and Sundays from noon to 6 p.m. and Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 6 p.m. until dusk, beginning September 7th through October 27th, 2013 for a community soccer league.
Second.
Any discussion or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to approve payment number 4 to Solai Construction for work completed on the 2012 sanitary sewer repair contract A through June 14, 2013, in the amount of $120,703.07.
Second.
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Barris,
Yes.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes.
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
Council President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve payment number 2 to Solai Construction for work completed on the 2012 sanitary sewer repair contract C through August 22nd in the amount of $4,600.
Second.
Comments? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Barris,
Yes.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
Council President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve payment to the South Hills Area Council of Governments in the amount of $27,067.62 for the Year 3 Joint Municipal O&M CCTV Inspection and Cleaning.
Second.
Comments? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Barris,
Yes.
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
Council President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to advertise for a special meeting of council on Monday, July 29th, 2013, at 6 p.m. to discuss the official adoption of the Carnegie Borough Alcoasn feasibility study and all other borough business.
Second.
Comments? We have a requirement by the end of July. All municipalities actually have a requirement by the end of July to submit a sewer plan to the state which will outline how we are going to comply with certain legal issues regarding sanitary sewers. Every municipality must do this. Our engineers are in the final process of crossing the Ts and dotting the Is on our plan, and we're going to have this special meeting on the 29th to review it publicly, and certainly you're all welcome to attend. Are there any other comments regarding this motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public safety motions, please, Councilman Sarsfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. My first motion, motion A, is a motion to, actually, that motion, Mr. President, will be removed. Continuing work will be ongoing with that between attorneys and counsel, so that will be removed.
This motion was actually, the same motion was on the agenda last month and was tabled, so it continues to be tabled pending those negotiations. So it is tabled. We'll continue with 4B.
Yes. Motion B, motion to permit the closing of a portion of Broadway Street from the corner of School Street on Saturday, July 13th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. for a community event sponsored by the Solid Rock Foundation Ministries of Pittsburgh.
Second.
Comments? Mr. Solicitor, you looked at the insurance form, you found it in order?
Yes, I did, Mr. President.
Thank you. Chief, any issues regarding traffic?
No issues on traffic. The only thing is, I think the motion said the closing of Broadway Street. It's School Street at Broadway and at Washington. It's not Broadway, it's going to be closed, it's going to be School Street.
It says a portion of Broadway Street from the corner of School Street.
Yeah, none of Broadway will be closed. It'll be School Street.
So this is actually incorrectly worded. It should say a portion of School Street from the corner of Broadway. That's backwards.
Right, it's backwards.
Do I have a motion to amend this?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. This would be to switch these two street names around so that the motion would read, permit the closing of a portion of School Street from the corner of Broadway Street on Saturday, July the 13th.
Do I need to reread that, Mr. Solicitor?
Yeah, if you agree.
Motion to permit the closing of a portion, what street was it?
School Street.
Of School Street from the corner of Broadway on Saturday, July 13th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. for a community event sponsored by Solid Rock Foundation Ministries of Pittsburgh.
Second.
Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion C, motion to permit the closing of 3rd Avenue and 2nd Street on Sunday, September 15th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the 2nd annual Jazz on 3rd Carnegie music event.
Second.
Comments? It was a great event last year, and I'm sure hoping that it'll be another great one. It was a good turnout, the weather was cooperative, so I actually can sit on my porch and listen to the music, so
No complaints from here.
no complaints from me.
Okay.
My neighbors were dancing in their driveway, so they seem to be happy too.
Any other comments regarding this motion C? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion D is a motion to direct the borough manager to recognize appointment of pension board members for the Borough of Carnegie Police Pension Plan.
Second.
Comments?
Just one brief one, so we don't have to mention the officers that are being appointed, or? Is that Mr. Solicitor? I was just curious about that.
Names required.
Yes, David. Do we have the names of people?
It's Officer Seaman and Officer Dunn.
And they would be replacing?
Well, one is no longer with the force.
Yes, so they're
There
replacing.
was somebody who was no longer with the
Oh.
force. And then the other one was Sergeant Lee, right? Sergeant Lee and somebody who's no longer with the force.
No, they're replacing somebody. I know officers, I know Sergeant Lee is one of the people that's being replaced.
But is that important? Can we just name those two officers' names as being appointed? So I'll reread this motion also.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion direct the borough manager to recognize the appointment of Officer Seaman and Officer Gump of the pension board members for the Borough of Carnegie Police Pension Plan.
Second.
Any other comments then? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Continue with community development motions. Councilman Beers, please.
Motion A to approve resolution number 2013-03, a resolution of the Borough of Carnegie declaring that several dilapidated and vacant structures individually and collectively in the Borough of Carnegie constitute blighted property as defined by the Urban Redevelopment Law.
Second.
This motion reads, it may sound a little bit confusing and vague because it's not specific to any piece of property, but it's a necessary predecessor to the next motion, which does name particular pieces of property. Any comments regarding motion 5A? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion B to approve resolution number 2013-04, a resolution of the Borough of Carnegie confirming that the Borough of Carnegie has submitted a community development block grant application through the Char West COG to the Allegheny County Department of Economic Development in the amount of $28,000 for the demolition of structures located at 509 Anthony Street and 508 Dawson Street.
Second.
Steve, my paper has a different dollar.
That was a typo. It was meant to be $28,000. The $15,000 was the amount for last year's submittal.
So the motion reads $28,000 estimate for the demolition.
Correct.
Was there a second on that?
Second.
Yeah, I second.
Any comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll continue with committee reports. Councilman Katina.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point in time, the second half of the year is always critical as far as our revenue coming in and us meeting our expenditures. It's always tight, to put it in layman's terms. And this year will be no different than any other year over the past 4 years, unfortunately. I would just urge all departments to scrutinize all of their expenditures, as they always do, but pay particular attention, obviously, in this time in the second half of the year, because we want to get through this year, and obviously we're going into budget season, so we'll be talking about budgets very shortly, come early September, late August. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. We should mention to folks that tax season is here, of course. Major source of revenue for the borough, property tax. And that comes around in the summer. So how is it that the borough pays all of its bills from January until now? We, as most municipalities do, borrow money. We borrow money from a local institution. We put that money in our bank account, and we use that to pay salaries and expenses for the first half of the year. And then when our real estate tax money comes in, we pay that loan off. And that is repeated each year. And so, as the councilman has mentioned, we get to this point in the year where that borrowed amount of money is running out and tax money should be coming in. So it's always a precarious time when we get to the July-August period. So you would have received, if your homes are paid off, you would have received your tax bill in the mail. And certainly, when you have the opportunity, you could send that money in and you get the discount that comes with paying before the end of August, 2% discount. That's it, Councilman Catino?
One other thing, Mr. President, you might have heard me say this before, and we actually did some research on, or actually our solicitor did some research, because I've been hot and heavy about wanting to publish delinquent tax, people that owe delinquent taxes, but apparently there was a defamation suit involving Mount Lebanon Borough. So we can't, as much as I'd like to do that, I don't want the Borough of Carnegie to be sued anytime soon. However, I would like to publish the list of liened properties, which I believe is public knowledge or publicly accessible. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in a way to get around this issue, we will be listing the names and addresses of property owners who have liens on their property. We'll be posting this on our website as soon as I can get this information from Jordan, so that each and every one of you can see who some of these people are, and hopefully a little bit of peer pressure will help us bring this tax revenue in, because no one likes tax increases. And this council and the mayor obviously don't like tax increases, but we do depend on your tax revenue to pay our bills. So hopefully by publishing this list, like I said, and naming these people, you'll be able to actually see some of them, and maybe they'll pay. I'm not certain. Let's hope they will. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome, Councilman. Code Enforcement, Councilwoman Covey.
We have no report this evening, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Demko, Public Works.
No report.
Is the, I was out last week because of an illness. Did the engineers indicate the paving program is going to proceed or started, or was there any update on that?
Just that they're proceeding, there was nothing.
Do we know, Steve, do we know when the start date for the paving program?
Currently, they just started on a few of the ADA ramps, and I have yet to get a schedule for the paving of the roads or alleys.
Okay.
So that should be this week.
Okay. Public Safety Committee, Councilman Sarsfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank Chief Kennedy for the police presence on the 3rd of July up at Carnegie Park. Also want to thank the fire department for their presence. We've been fortunate all these years without any incident, but let us not have them there one time, and something could go awry on us. Also want to thank Public Works for the painting of the crosswalks at Lydia Street in Anthony. I want to thank the mayor for his support in getting this accomplished. The First Christian Church is very much appreciative of that, and it just makes that whole intersection a bit safer for everybody. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Veras, Community Development.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. Just a couple of things I would mention. Yesterday, we were delighted to have a ceremony at Carnegie Park to officially break ground on a new skate park for the borough, which will be in our park. And it's be a very exciting addition to our park, and a continuation of the renovations that we've been making in the last few years. We have a lot of young people in town who skateboard and extreme bike, and I think this will be an opportunity for them to get some use out of our a park that maybe they don't normally get, or maybe get them off the street where they might be in danger of having an accident. So it's a very welcome event, and it's going to be a large a large skate park, very expensive, and we're fortunate that a foundation has stepped forward to pay most of the cost. And we're appreciative of council members and the mayor who continue to work to raise funds for the difference.
Mr. President, can I add something briefly? Councilwoman Demko, I sent Councilwoman Demko an email this morning, and she's laughing about it now. Councilwoman Demko has been a driving force behind getting the fundraising piece of this behind us. And she doesn't like to toot her own horn, so I want to publicly thank her tonight for everything that she's done, because she's been, like I said, a massive pusher. And if any of you realize how much work she's put into this to make this happen, your hats would be off to her, trust me. So thank you, Councilwoman.
Just one of the events, the 3rd of July, Sue and her sister were up there busting, and I think you guys did pretty well. I mean, you guys ended up having a line, and it was great. Thank you for everything, Sue.
I think this development in the park is another step in a sign that things are happening in Carnegie. I know for folks that have lived here all their lives, the demise of Carnegie's business district since the early 70s has been a mystery and a sad one, but it is the nature of economic conditions over the last 4 decades or so that there have been a shift of people's living. People have moved into different neighborhoods and areas. Places that were all farmland are now neighborhoods. People go to shopping centers that didn't exist when Carnegie was in its heyday. And so we ended up with this sleeping little Main Street with a lot of vacant storefronts. But we are now seeing that change. And I think this park is just one sign of it. I think you're seeing the new coffee shop that opened last month, the movement of the medicine shop into the old post office, several other properties on Main Street which have recently been purchased, and other announcements that will be coming up in the next 3, 4, 5 months of other developers that are looking at pieces of property. I think it's a good sign for the town that it's been recognized that we have a good location, but not just a good location, but this is a nice place to be. It's a very exciting time for us. I think in the next 5 years, you're going to see some amazing differences in this community. Council's role, of course, is not to broker deals with particular developers and private property owners, but it is our job to make sure that those developments happen in a responsible way and they maintain the character of our town. So we are stressing that we keep the small town appearance of Main Street from Washington Avenue down to Jefferson. But you should anticipate that in other parts of town, buildings are going to be torn down and new buildings put up. And it's going to be a very exciting time. So Pitcher Park is just one more step. One more step in an economic and commercial evolution that is slowly taking hold back here in Carnegie. At this point, we'll continue with Fire Department. Mr. Scott, anything?
Yes. Fire calls for the month of May were 25. For the month of June were 33. EMS calls for the month of May was 194. And for the month of June was 172.
Anything else? Thank you. Junior council members, anything?
Yeah. Carnegie United Methodist Church at 419 Washington Ave is taking orders for homemade fruit pies and pierogies on the 1st and 3rd of Wednesdays of each month during the summer. To place and order call Mary Ann at 412-279-2537 or Pat at 412-221-7709.
Can we get those phone numbers put up, Steve, somewhere where people,
Yeah, can we post on the Borough website?
Is that
Can we
okay if
have
we
that,
post
Deanna?
it?
Can we have that so we can post it?
Stage 62 is presenting Avenue Q from Thursday, July 18th to Sunday, July 28th. On Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the show is at 8 p.m. and Sunday it's at 2 p.m. And to get tickets or more information, you can call 412-429-6262 or go to www.stage62.com.
thank you.
And that is an adult show. Adult only, it's rated R.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
No, it is, there are, it's an adult show.
Thanks, Mayor, I appreciate it.
It is, there is something, and don't ask me what this is, I have no idea, but there is something in it called puppet nudity.
There are some advertisements around, and you see pictures of Muppets on it. We wouldn't want anybody to get the misunderstanding that this is a children's show. It is not a children's show.
Absolutely rated R, no one under 17.
July 25th through the 27th is the St. Elizabeth and St. Coach Festival, which is on 3rd Avenue. There's going to be games for adults and children, ethnic food booths, live entertainment, and a different dinner theme every night. So if that interests you, for now.
What's the dates on that again?
July 25th through the 27th.
25th and 27th, St. Louis, CNC. Anything else from our junior council? Thank you. Mayor. Your turn.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the month of June, we have criminal arrests and citations numbering 45. Traffic citations were 39. Parking tickets numbered 176. Complaints and self-initiated activity from our department were 974. Talk a little bit about, we had a couple burglaries in June. There were a couple burglaries that occurred over on Elk Avenue, and I am pleased to say that our department made very quick work of the clues and the information that they had, and they were able to quickly identify 2 suspects, and they issued warrants for their arrest, and currently both suspects are under arrest. I really want to thank our department. They worked well together, but there was a special thank you to Officer Gump, who really led the charge on this. He did a great job, and I can't go into all the details, but he was sensational during this investigation. So I thank him very much. And a side note to this, these individuals are not only responsible for a few burglaries in Carnegie, but also in other communities such as Green Tree. So this was a big and quick bust by our department. So, in other crime news, a while back there was a robbery at the Sunoco. Once again, our police department did an excellent job of identifying the suspect. Unfortunately, the suspect fled to Beaver County. We had a warrant out for his arrest while he was in Beaver County. He has since surfaced, and he was arrested for actually another crime in Beaver County, and we are currently working on extradition for our crimes here, and for our crime here at the Sunoco station. So he is under arrest, and we're just waiting our turn to get him. In other news, on July 15th, they had the script readings down at the 3rd Street Gallery, and this month will be Lena Meyer's script, The Roost. Lena Meyer is the senior. Lena Meyer is the senior from Carleton High School. She won a national award for this script. This should be an exciting reading. It'll probably be a big crowd, and I think it's a very nice tribute to our school district and to our community that Lena Meyer will be there, and her script will be read for everyone to hear. Our next Veterans Flag Ceremony will be Saturday, July 13th at 10 a.m. at the Carnegie Municipal Building. Of course, that's here. Currently, right now, the flag World War II Navy veteran Ernest M. Enrietti is flying out there. Mr. Enrietti served aboard the USS Langley, which was involved in numerous confrontations against the enemy Japanese forces in the South Pacific. During his service, he was awarded a number of medals, including the Navy Unit Commendation, which is a medal for heroism. And after the war, Mr. Enrietti was a longtime owner of Enrietti News here in Carnegie. So we're expecting a nice crowd for that. It'll be Saturday at 10 a.m. Anyone who wants to help us honor Mr. Enrietti, please feel free to stop by. I also want to thank Sheriff Mullen for our first event when we honored Thomas Story Jester, the individual who was killed in action in Vietnam. Sheriff Mullen sent a bagpipe player to play Amazing Grace for us during that ceremony. And it was a very nice touch, and we really appreciate Sheriff Mullen for coming through for us. So thank him very much. As you know, you may have read about it in the paper. We were very honored to host a delegation from Ukraine. Mr. President and myself were there when they arrived here in town. It was a very nice event. And at this time, the delegation, well, I'll give you a little background on it before I read the letter. Congressman Murphy was entertaining this delegation, and it was due to energy. They were going to learn some information regarding Marcellus Shell and how to extract their own energy and what their capabilities will be. But Congressman Murphy, since they were Ukrainian, thought about our community immediately because of our strong and rich Ukrainian tradition, and asked if we would host these individuals for about an hour and a half. And we were more than willing to do that. And it turned out very well, and I'm going to read the thank you letter from Congressman Murphy's office to us. It says here, I write to send you a note of sincere appreciation and thank you for your community's contributions in welcoming officials from Ukraine to Carnegie on Monday, June 24, 2013. By all accounts, it was a tremendous experience for the delegation. Your efforts made all involved feel most welcome and undoubtedly proud to see Ukrainian culture strong and vibrant nearly a century after Ukrainian immigrants began settling in southwestern Pennsylvania. The leader of the delegation, Ukrainian Parliament member Sergei Klayulov, who also leads Ukraine's parliamentary committee for the relations with the United States, told me afterwards, we feel very welcome in Carnegie and feel the spirit of Ukraine here. Ukrainians can feel very comfortable in America. I couldn't agree more. Monday's visit was an historic occasion and a joyful success, and I thank you so much for your time, assistance, and hospitality. And then in writing, he also puts on after he signed it, thank you for a wonderful time. It was one of those instances where I was very proud. I'm always proud to be from Carnegie, but I was extremely proud to be here in Carnegie that day, and it was just a great event. I really can't thank Saints Peters and Paul for congregation for what they did, and a number of other individuals who came to make this event successful. So I don't know if you have any comments on it, Mr. President.
I would just say that the delegation felt so welcome here in Carnegie. The leader of them couldn't get them assembled to leave. They were in the social hall of the church and they were singing. And the one member of parliament said that he hadn't sung anything in 20 years. He had not sung a single song in 20 years. He was singing with a whole group of people down there. They couldn't get him to stop. He was so happy. He was like a little kid. That there was these people in another country. He said, I have to go to another country to sing songs from when I was a child about Ukrainian folk songs. And it was just really, it was a very warm event. The people really enjoyed themselves, and it was, they very much appreciated the hospitality that we had here.
I think so. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I'm not going to delve into this. I don't know if anybody else is planning on talking about the Carnegie Crawl this Friday. Did anybody have that? If not, I will mention it. This Friday, the 12th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. is once again the Carnegie Crawl. As you know, do it all at the Carnegie Crawl. So stay after work in Carnegie and enjoy our businesses. They will be open. Lots of freebies, lots of specials. There'll be bands playing, free coffee at the coffee place. There might be free hors d'oeuvres at Papa J's again, I'm not sure, but there's a lot going on. It's really a great evening. I think everybody here on council has participated in it, and I don't think there's one person here that has walked away disappointed. So, speaking of free, I made a deal with the AMF Noble Manor Lanes, and they will have a Carnegie Borough Community Day for free bowling for any resident of Carnegie Borough. You're invited to an open house at AMF Noble Manor Lanes on August 10th, 2013, and it's from the time they open until 5 p.m. And you can come and enjoy 1 hour of free bowling, and it includes shoe rental at no cost to you. And all you need to do is bring proof of your residence. So anyone that lives in Carnegie can feel free. If you, as long as one person has proof of residence, it'll be fine. And then, lastly here, I wanted a couple quick thank yous. I see we have some members from the Second Baptist Church here. I want to thank you very much for the very nice talent show you put on for the children of the Carnegie Towers and the nice Bible study camp that was beautiful. And I also want to thank St. Bernard's Church. Their youth group came down and put on a nice week-long camp for the children of Carnegie Towers also, which was also a very nice event. They do a great job up there. So we appreciate what you do for the community and what others do for the community. Thank you very much. That's all I have today. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
You're welcome, Mayor. At this time, if anybody has comments they would like to make, please, you're welcome to step up to the podium and make your remarks. It must be the middle of summer. Okay, then we'll go around the table here. We'll start, usually start down there. We'll start down at Councilman Covey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to touch briefly on what President DeLotte said. Please go to some of the events in Carnegie. It's your hometown. It's my hometown. I'm very proud of it. I was born and raised here, as were both my parents before me. So go to the festivals, go to the plays. Please go to the new coffee shop. It's wonderful. I'm becoming addicted. And the medicine shop will be opening. Hopefully there'll be a new restaurant soon. And as President DeLotte gave you a little pique your interest there, we may have some wonderful announcements coming soon. Other than that, I want everyone to enjoy the next month of summer until we meet again, and stay safe. And please check on your neighbors, especially the elderly, especially with this heat. We do open the borough if it's extremely hot as a cooling center. And if you think someone needs help, don't hesitate to call either the police or our fire department or our paramedics. Better be safe than sorry. You'd feel terrible if something happened to one of your elderly neighbors. So please check on them, and please, do whatever you think is necessary. But other than that, just have a wonderful month and enjoy yourself. And God willing, I'll see you next month. So take care. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Veras?
Nothing this evening.
Okay. Councilwoman Demko?
Everybody pretty much touched on everything that I was going to talk about tonight, so that's fine. The only thing I would like to say is I do have lottery calendars for sale for the park. They're $25 for one, 2 for $40, and it's for the lottery for the whole month of August. And you can win $300 a day, $500 on Sunday, and $1,000 on the last day of the month. So anybody that needs a calendar, give me a buzz, 412-951-1017.
And if you can't reach her, you can reach me or the mayor. And Councilman Katina told you, she's the driving force behind all of us. And she gets sick of seeing me. People are getting sick of seeing her. They run the other way, but don't tell anybody of her feelings.
She's the new Marcella McGrogan.
That was me, Bob.
That's it. That's all I.
Councilman Katina?
Thank you, Mr. President. Unfortunately, I'm sad to report tonight that President DeNova of the Andrew Carnegie Library Board is stepping down, or has stepped down, due to his regular job requirements. He still will be a member of the board, however, he will not be president. Amanda Sargent is the new president, of the board at the Andrew Carnegie Free Library, and the vice presidency is vacant at this point in time. Two other noteworthy items that I'd like to talk about, Mr. President, is that we had a traffic study done of Capitol, between Capitol and between Beechwood, and Capitol Drive. And for those of you that have traveled on Capitol Drive, you know it's very narrow. If you take a fire truck up Capitol or what have you, can obviously run the other car off the road because there's just not room for two cars on that stretch of road. What we've talked about is possibly making it one way going down from Beechwood to Washington. So I would like to hear from the residents, possibly if they're in favor of that, against that. Obviously, most of the residents that I've talked to are in favor of that because of the safety concerns. There's just cars fly up and down, mainly fly up that hill, and it's a blind intersection, and unfortunately, there's always children in the street at the corner of Beechwood right there, and I've almost hit a few of them myself, so I'm careful. But it's just going to take an incident, and that was one of the concerns. The other concern was to try to control traffic in front of the towers area, because like I said, it's a dangerous situation right there. The second thing that I would like to talk about, Mr. President, is that in my neck of the woods in front of Beechwood in the 600 block or so, there's also a problem with parking. A lot of the residents, a lot of the visitors of the towers, unfortunately don't utilize the lots of the towers, and they actually park on Beechwood Avenue, which is causing problems with my neighbors, because a lot of my neighbors unfortunately don't have driveways, so they park on the street. So one of the things that was brought to me was that, and they've been at these meetings before, but they would very much like permanent parking on Beechwood Avenue and my block. And like I said, I think all of council remembers the last time they were here, and they were all for it, and they're still not going away, obviously, anytime soon. So they wanted me to make that push again tonight to try to do something about permanent parking in the 600 block of Beechwood, because obviously it is a concern at this point in time. And there's obviously other unfortunate factors that permanent parking might help control, namely the drug dealing or what have you. So that was my spiel tonight, Mr. President, so thank you for entertaining me.
Well, you're very welcome. Understand that there's been a parking problem up there for some time, and a lot of visitors, we'll call them, from other parts of the city often drop in there, and maybe that's a mechanism to control that. We'll discuss that with the chief, and he can talk to us about other permit parking areas that we have in town and how that might work. Councilman Sarsfield?
Thank you, Mr. President. One issue is, and I've spoken with the chief, and I'd like to discuss it with the mayor, and that's putting a stop sign at the corner of Justice and Still Place. Many of the residents up there have children, and some have grandchildren come to visit, and there's concern with people going up and down, and they think that a stop sign at that intersection would be very helpful to them. Also, I did have a brief conversation with the mayor, and I look forward to a more lengthy one and more detailed one in the future, and look to work together. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Well, if there's nothing else for this evening, we'll wish everyone a very good rest of your July and beginning of August. If you're taking a vacation, travel safe, come back safe. We're not going to adjourn this meeting right now. Council has some other legal business that it has to attend to in the caucus room behind us. Legal matters are discussed, not open to the public, so the doors will be closed. But I will thank you for attending this evening, and look forward to seeing you again in August. Council members, 5-minute recess and then reassemble in the conference room, please. Thank you.
Bye. Starting on Saturday.
On page 60.